Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me fine. Okay, if everything's fine, let's just start it. Um, Perfect. So, no, it's not a clickbait. I'm reading the chat already, but it's like, no, it's nothing. It's nothing clickbait. I'm actually debating if I should buy one or not. But FX3 or FX30, who knows? Okay, here I should be able to see the chat. Yeah, hopefully everybody is connected and can hear me. Hey Siri, living room 100%.
Okay.
Sorry
I
guys.
set the living room light to 100%.
Didn't have too much time to set up lights today for the light, but yeah, I'm shooting with the Pocket 6K Sigma 18 to 35, and yeah, I just wanted mainly like debating about. Gonna give people a couple of minutes to connect, but I want to mainly debating a little bit about this Sony FX30 because I think it's interesting, and I'm I might get one. So crop factor should be 1.5 or 1.4, 1.5, something like that, which is not the 1.3 crop factor of the Ursa. So that's kind of the thing that's stopping me a little bit here. But I would love also to know your guys' thought about it because I think Sony did something pretty cool, and I also have a kind of an idea for Blackmagic that I would love to for them to execute, but I think it's gonna be uh, probably unlikely due to the Blackmagic philosophy of being like a kind of low cost camera company. But uh, I don't know. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Well, let's start with the thing that until you have the camera, until I have the camera in my hands, I cannot give an opinion. So I'm always, I always tend to try things out. Like I tried the A7S III, I try the Panasonic, I try all these cameras. So when I say something about a camera, it's because I tried, and not because I think it's just trash just because it's one brand. Um, as you guys know, I love Blackmagic. They don't pay me to say anything. They don't give me cameras except for the Ursa, but they didn't give me the Ursa because I said something good about it. They gave me the Ursa because we did an exchange. I gave them some footage for license, and instead of getting cash, I got the Ursa. So it's like, so yeah, the main I think we can start probably. Yeah, 64 people. I know it's a Thursday night. A lot of people are out, but for the few that are here, that's cool. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thank you. And sorry, guys, I didn't post like I have a crazy amount of video to post. I have an entire Ursa Mini Pro 12K review impression video where I give you all, you know, my thoughts about the Ursa. Um, I have the story behind battery last to post as well. I have behind the scene video to post, but fortunately, I got two kind of a big jobs. Big because I have to shoot them, edit and color grade, and deliver them. So I just shot the one in Italy, came back. There was my brother in town. Now I'm gonna go to France next week to shoot for 2 days there, but we're staying a week, and then come back and edit and do post production on it. So it's kind of crazy. So yeah, let's just start it. Yeah, no, I'm not in London. I'm not in London. I'm in Lisbon. Still in Lisbon. I'm based here. I live here. I'm gonna live here for a while, but that's fine. So no, the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is that Sony released I think a pretty cool camera. As many of you know, I'm not a huge fan of full frame, so this is a camera that is very welcome to me. Like it's a cool camera because I tried the FX3, and I have to be honest, I love the body, I love the form factor, I love that it's compact, it's small. You can, you know, I love the material, I love everything about the feeling that when I have it in my pocket. Of course, it has the same A7S III sensor, so I tried the A7S III, I put it side by side with the pocket, and I don't think it's a camera for me. For a lot of people it works, but I'm curious to try this out. It's cool that they put the SS Cineton on it and everything. Of course, guys, everybody knows Sony has the Sony look, Sony has the Sony colors, and all this kind of stuff. So the main reason why I thought this camera was cool is because it's S35. And even here there was a little bit of debate on Instagram, because like a lot of people say S35, oh, like it's automatic that it's 1.5 crop, but it's not actually, because like Alexa Mini and Ursa, for example, they have 1.3, 1.35 something crop, and it's an S35. The Pocket 6K has an S35 sensor, but the crop factor is 1.56. And why I'm so obsessed about the crop factor, and not so, there's a thing. Full frame, I'm not a fan, because all my Leica, they don't look as good on a full frame. What I mean with that is, like, if I put a 90mm on a full frame sensor, it looks too wide. I tried on an A7S III, was actually vignetting. So I think the Leica are great on a S35 sensor. For example, the Ursa one, which is 1.3, which is great. And that's the thing, 1.3 is still manageable. It's not a full frame, but it's not like a 1.6 crop. So it's a good middle way, I think. And the 35mm looks amazing on the Ursa. It looks amazing on the Pocket too, but the reality is that it's a 50mm or more, which it makes things a little bit harder when you're going like on a travel, on a trip, and you want to do a travel film. Or also the things that I shot in Italy, I shot it on the Pocket, and I have to shoot everything 48p, not because I couldn't handle it, but because the brand requires that, so that's fine. But of course, I have a lot of space and I can walk out, and the lens was amazing. But I have to say, you have an actual 50mm in your lens, so it's a little bit too much, in my opinion. And this is something that I always said about the Pocket 6K. I wish the Pocket 6K had that 1.3, 1.4 crop, because 1.56, which is almost 1.6, you can see it. And when I shoot with the Pocket and the Ursa, I can see the different focal length, how they react. In fact, on the Ursa, I mainly use 35mm. On the Pocket, I mainly use the 28 or the 19. But of course, the look of the 35 is the look of the 35. Here, this is something that you guys should keep in mind. When I say I want to use the 35 and not the 28, it's not just because of the focal length. It's because a 35 have different characteristics than the 28, than the 19. So the 35 is my favorite lens. If I can get one lens, I will only shoot 35. But on a real S35 1.3 crop. So this is something that we should clarify. Now, saying that, the FX30, I think it's an amazing camera, because and I'm going to the spec thing here on B&H. So it's a Sony mount, which I can easily put a EF converter and use my Leica R lenses. He has autofocus, which I don't care, but and hear me out, guys. I'm not thinking about FX30 to replace my Pocket. I'm not thinking about the FX30 to use as a B cam as my pocket. I'm not thinking about the FX30 as a camera that I would use on paid shoot. Not necessarily. The main reason why I love this kind of camera is because I can go for a very long time with one battery, which is great. I don't have to shoot 6K B-raw files, so I can save quite a lot of space when I go for trips and I want to shoot a travel film. And it's compact. I love the material. I can just take the camera, put my Leica with the ND on it, go out and shoot for I think 175 minutes. That's pretty much the duration of the battery. And I can shoot with an SD card. I don't have to, bring my big CFast, and I don't have to waste like a terabyte all the time I shoot. So this was the main reason. I know it doesn't have Blackmagic Color Science. This is something you guys should keep in mind. Sony camera, they don't have anything about that Blackmagic look, Blackmagic color that is attracting. I like the Venice. I like the FX9. I saw some really good stuff. FX3, I don't know, but I think I can make it work with the right lens. It might look quite cool. He has a stabilized sensor 5-axis, which again, I don't care when I do paid stuff and work stuff, but for travel films or stock footage, or where I go in a place where I don't want to have a big backpack with a lot of batteries and the big pocket 6K, that could be nice to have, even though again I don't really use it, but it's a cool thing to have. And yeah, the advertised dynamic range is dynamic range, and I'm happy that B&H now put advertised dynamic range, not dynamic range. They say advertised dynamic range is 14 stop. Volume is low. Sorry guys, I'm just reading the chat now. I was on the spec page. Now I'm gonna answer some question too. Is the volume okay, guys? Because someone said it's low, but I don't think it's too low. I can bump it up though if you guys need it. But let me know in the comments. Hello from France. Hello. Hello. Are you London? Oh, no, I already answered this. Audio good for me. Okay, good for me. Perfect. Okay, sweet. Yeah, so no, I was saying that basically on the spec side, and then I'm glad Sony B&H said advertise dynamic range 14 stop, because you know better than me, this camera, the A7S II, they don't have 14 stops. The Alexa Classic, the Alexa Mini, they do have real 14 stop. I think the Blackmagic has a real 13, but I don't think Sony has a real 14 stop. So everybody freaking out for this 14 stop dynamic range, like it doesn't make any sense. It's also interesting because I tried to look for footage for this camera, and all I could see is like some people, the typical reviewer, they just basically read the manual and they give me all the spec, how large it is, how much you weigh, what can it do, but I don't see any footage. Or either I see huge production where they use a Techno Crane, RE M10 and that kind of stuff to use with the camera. For some reason, there's nobody, I think maybe I missed the video, there's nobody that goes out on a beach with a model and just film something in natural light. I can't find anything, so that's kind of weird. It's either a huge production or a crappy kind of production. But maybe I'm gonna have to look more on YouTube to try to find some stuff. But anyway, yeah, I think it's probably a 12 stop with dynamic range. In reality, it's cool. Finally, I mean, I know it's been from the A7S3. They put 422 10-bit, still XAVC HS. And I'm sorry, guys, but when people talk about codec and they say 422 10-bit, 10-bit, yeah, it's better than 420 8-bit, sure. But the codec, that H.264, H.265, that's the main concern when it comes to camera. And here I'm talking when it comes to camera that I have to use for paid stuff. Like I can see when a camera shoots H.265 and when a camera shoots B-RAW or Red RAW or RE RAW. I can see or ProRes for that matter. I can see the difference because the H.265 is like at the end of the day, even if it's 422 10-bit with a really good megabyte per second bit rate, it still looks like an H.265 to me, and that's where the big difference is from Blackmagic to all the other manufacturers. But it does shoot a S-Cinetone, Sony S-Log 3, so it's pretty cool. You can get the handle with the audio and sound and everything. In HDMI, it output ProRes RAW in 4.6K, I believe, as 16-bit. Is ProRes RAW still a thing? Because as far as I know, everybody's jumping to DaVinci, and I'm not sure if DaVinci can read ProRes RAW. I know it's an exclusive DaVinci Resolve feature, which is cool, but sorry, Final Cut Pro thing with Apple. I'm not sure if you can see it in DaVinci, but it's great. I mean, it's a good output like ProRes RAW, 4K. That's cool, but I don't know. I don't know if I can work with that footage in with that codec in DaVinci Resolve. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, articulating touchscreen LCD, which is cool. Autofocus, which never used. Sony Z series battery, which are pretty cool because they last quite a while. Of course, material construction, magnesium alloy, which I love. And when this camera came out, I was like, and then I'm gonna answer some question, guys. When this camera came out, I was like, literally, I would love Blackmagic to come out with such a camera, small, robust, metal, but small. I really want the original pocket, and I don't need 6K, I don't need 8K. Just give me like a super compact camera that can shoot 4K or 4K, maybe 4.6K ProRes. If it does be raw, perfect, but I would be totally happy with ProRes. Internal ND, I don't care. I can screw something on it. So we want to keep the body form pretty small. And then a screen that I can pull out and I can turn, that's fine. Perfect articulated screen, sweet. But give me something that compact that can shoot 4K ProRes. Like I was shooting with the original Pocket, I was shooting 1080 ProRes. Perfect. That's what I want. And that's what's really intriguing me about the FX30. Not a full frame, so I don't have to go crazy with the lens and the sensor, blah, blah. It's like S35 sensor, beautiful construction quality, build quality. Color science, I think they improved quite a bit compared to the A7S II. So the A7S III, FX3, FX30, I think is going to be better. FX6 is a little bit better too than the previous generation Sony. So they're working in the right direction. Codec is what it is. But again, for behind the scene, travel film, YouTube videos, maybe I want to go out and film a video or whatever, like a compact camera that I can literally like put it in the pocket of my backpack and call it a day. Because at the end of the day, the Pocket 6K, I have to admit, it's pretty big, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the 6K Pro is even bigger. So, but in all honesty, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one to try. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna check the footage. I'm gonna do some color grading tests. I'm gonna push the footage. I'm gonna test a bunch of things, but I'm gonna get one to test for sure. I'm gonna try to work with some rental here or shops here, see if they can let me one. And if I like what I see, if I think it's good, I'm gonna get one. So this was not a clickbait title. This is the first time I'm actually considering a Sony camera. Crop factor, it's a little bit less compared to the Pocket 6K. So I think I could make it work. I'm not too sure. I have to try. I have to put a 35mm Leica R on Sony and see what it looks, but I might get one. So for all the people saying that I was lying, I'm not. I'm actually gonna get one because I think it's a pretty cool camera. Just the form factor is cool. How it's built is like a tank. I love it. I love that. So good job, Sony. But let's answer some question here, guys. So I'm gonna be right back with you. Sorry. What was your first personal professional camera? Canon T2i or the 500D, I believe, and then I switched to the 5D Mark II. Adrian Dominguez. Hey Matteo, I own a Pocket 4K and thinking to buy the FX30. What do you think? See, that's the thing. That's something that I don't think you should do. Why? You will never get the same color science with the Pocket that you have on the Pocket on the Sony. You will never have that beautiful codec. You will never have the beautiful ecosystem where you drop those B-RAW 4K files or 6K files or 12K file for that matter in DaVinci, and you can edit on a laptop like this, you will never have that with a Sony. So if you like the Blackmagic color science, and keep in mind the Pocket 4K sensor, it's good, but when you jump on a Pocket 6K, it's another story. Get a Pocket 6K, maybe rent one and try it out. But as I say a lot in my online course, you don't have to pick a camera based on what YouTubers say, based on what I say, what I'm like, because I do something that you maybe don't do. So if you do weddings, if you do events, if you do a lot of corporate video, a lot of corporate interviews, sure, sell the Pocket 4K and get a Sony. I'm the first one that is going to tell you to do that. The reason why I have Blackmagic is because I'm a cinematographer first, and I do commercial, I do documentaries, but in a cinematic way. I'm very used to pulling my own focus. I'm very used to stabilize the footage with my hands. I don't need stabilization. So everything I do is because I do it in a certain way. And some people might not even need the look of the Pocket or the Ursa. Some people might be totally happy with the look of the Sony. Maybe your clients want the Sony look, and that's fine. So don't listen with all the YouTubers, because now everybody on YouTube is selling a Sony FX30. So I'm gonna tell you something about this, and I'm gonna tell you why my channel is what it is. So when Sony send you a camera, right, you are in their program, whatever, they reach out, they don't pay you, they just give you a camera and they tell you, hey, can you shoot a short film for me in 10 days? You can test the camera and then you send it back. Okay, if Sony does something like that with me, I will send the camera back and then I'm gonna send them an invoice. Because this is something that I do not understand about camera company. They send you the camera, you shoot for free, and then you send the camera back. I mean, at least give me a camera, at least. But anyway, the problem with YouTube, and this is happening also with the Apple iPhone, the reason why you only hear good stuff on YouTube about a particular camera, especially the Sony, is because if they are in the Sony program, the Sony brand ambassador or whatever program, they get a camera and they say negative things about it, Sony's not gonna send one next time. So they might gonna miss out on the Sony camera, they have to buy themselves or whatever. But what I wanted to say is, like, do not trust me, do not trust anybody for that matter. I mean, I'm telling you what I think, but again, it's not that you don't trust me, you should trust me. But whatever works for me, it might not work for you. But what I'm saying is, like, don't believe everybody out there saying that FX30 is an amazing camera is telling you the truth, because very likely they're doing it, they're trying to find an angle to say positive things just because they might get removed from Sony program. So this is very important. I don't know, Adrian, what you do. I would never sell a Pocket 6K for an FX30. I will add a Sony FX30 to my arsenal for some stuff, sure. Also some very small corporate video where I have to be very run and gun, I might use a Sony. You never know. But again, depends what you do. So I'm not here selling you the Pocket. I'm not here selling you the Ursa. It's up to you and depends what you do. Blake Anderson, can you use full frame lenses on that camera? I think you can, but I'm not a full frame guy, so I'm not the right person to answer this question. I believe so. Gerald Aldan measured it for 11 stop of usable DR. That's cool. I believe Gerald Aldan, though, is not a lab, is not a camera god or anything, so who knows if it's true, because he can say something that it might not be true, because you don't know. Cine D too, they do all these lab tests because of the dynamic range and everything. Guys, what I recommend you to do is, like, get the camera, get a model, the bright daylights at noon, put the model outside the window, put the model close to the window and just film outside from inside and see what you're trying, what you're getting. If you can get all the details in the highlights and you get enough details in the shadow, that's fine. You don't have to know if it's a 13 stop, 14 stop, 15 stop, 16 stops. Doesn't matter. As long as it works, that's fine. So, that's what I think. Let's go with more questions. Perfetto. Oh man, a lot of questions, a lot of people. Wow, 100 people. Okay. Alessandro, how about the dual record? Main problem for me is the single SD card. This is something that I get asked quite a lot, and for me, it's not a problem. I've been working in this field for 11 years, always shooting on a SSD, SD, CFast, single one, and I never had an issue. So I don't know why people want to have a, yeah, for backup. I mean, I kind of get it for wedding photography or something, but I mean, it's extremely hard that you can have like a fail SSD drive on set that's gonna delete all your files that you previously recorded. I never heard about it, so I don't know. I never really, that was never an issue for me. Have you any thoughts on the DZO picture lenses? I never tried the primes, so I can't say anything about the primes. I tried the zoom, beautiful lenses, but for me, the closest focus is way too far. And because my shooting style, again, my personal shooting style, where I go wide angle, very close to the subject, like a 19, 20 millimeter, that was not working for me. So I always, I never really consider them for my workflow. This camera isn't for me. I wouldn't mind having a set of FX3 for commercial and IK looks. FX3. Yeah, full frame for me. I don't know. I try my Leica R in full frame and they don't look great. What do you like, Blackmagic versus Red? Oh my god, this is such a big topic. So, but just to give you a short answer, Marius, I was never a big fan of the red color science, but this is since 5-6 years ago. To me, red was always too digital, where Blackmagic was always like the closest thing to Arri, and so I never really considered red because first is overpriced, and I'm not saying it's overpriced like people say, oh, an iPhone is overpriced, which it might be. Red is overpriced because if you go on YouTube and you Google red mag scandal, you're gonna see that they were selling $2,000 SSD, and they were saying it was a red manufacturer SSD, where in reality they were Chinese SSD put in the red case and sold it for $2,000. So it's I don't like their philosophy. I don't like the fact that they keep suing people for this raw patent and this kind of stuff. I don't like that they scam people with the hydrogen phone, taking the deposit to finance the project and never deliver it. Which I actually tried the hydrogen phone. It was like a complete crap. So yeah, and I don't see a point where I should spend $10,000 for a Komodo where I can't even shoot 50 frames per second. This is just my honest opinion, but I don't like the philosophy of the company, and I don't like their image. It's a really good camera, but I prefer Blackmagic and I prefer Arri color science. All Intra Codec is pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's not B-RAW, it's not ProRes. It's pretty good. Even the Panasonic GH5 had the All Intra, blah blah blah. Look digital. Look like a compressed codec. Look like something that I don't want to work with. So, and make my computer go crazy. So I'm not a big fan of those codecs. DaVinci doesn't support ProRes RAW. See, so why should I output? I would love to output B-RAW from the FX30. That would be great. ProRes is just bad. I love B-RAW. No, ProRes is amazing. ProRes, I don't know, Corruptol, what's your experience, but you're going against basically the entire Hollywood standard. ProRes, many feature films have been shot in ProRes. It's one of the best codec out there, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and I really love it. So I don't know why you don't like it, but ProRes would be great. I should be raw all the time now because, of course, it's a little bit lighter and they make it work, different compression and blah blah. But ProRes, it's ProRes, and it's the industry standard still for delivery. So super compact camera from BM would be awesome. Yeah, this is all I'm asking, honestly. To be honest, to Blackmagic, to be honest, give me a compact camera, something like the FX30 that shoot ProRes, 13 stop dynamic range, no internal ND, I don't care. No image stabilization, no autofocus, nothing. Just give me something cool, something like a, not cool, something compact, small. Maybe made with a aluminum or metal or something. That'd be dope. If Filmmaking came out with a new version of the Pocket with FX30 form factor, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm. I would love to see. Canon did good with the DGO sensor. Reminds me of the B-roll. Yeah, I'm not an expert on Canon, so I can say. I own the Pocket 4K, love it, but just prefer the FX30. Small gimbal camera. That's another thing that people keep asking me about gimbals. I don't use gimbal, never used one in my life, and I never will. With FX30 or FX3, you get sharper 4K 24 and 60p, but lower dynamic range and worse low light. Yeah, I'm gonna buy more Tesla stock and then maybe the camera. Blake Anderson, I approve your choice. Buy the deep. Glad to see Matteo's talk about a Sony camera. I'm not, that's the other thing, that people think I'm just Blackmagic, but if Sony comes out with a camera like this, with great color science, with 13 real stop of dynamic range and not 14 fake stop of dynamic range, maybe with a 1.3 crop factor, I'll get one. I'm not for like just Blackmagic. But Blackmagic, this is not like a subjective opinion. This is objective. Like there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm talking about real filmmaking. So in real filmmaking, when we talk about camera, you cannot consider autofocus and you cannot consider image stabilization. And when people ask me, oh, well, how do you focus? How do you keep your camera stable? Guys, we're camera operator. I'm a camera operator. I'm a cinematographer. People pay me to operate a camera. People pay me to get stable footage. People pay me to pull the focus. So this is our job. This is my job, and this is why people pay me. So when they ask me, oh, how do you focus? Guys, I charge 1,500 euros a day to operate the camera. Like, okay, you do YouTube, sure, you need autofocus. You do corporate video, you need you do events. But I do corporate video. I do events sometimes, or I did weddings, and I did weddings with the original Pocket. No image stabilization, no autofocus, and they came out great. You can go on my channel, you can scroll back, and you can see all those old video. You still see me, yeah? Because I saw like a drop in the stream, but should be good. It's a bit yellow now. I lost some lights from outside, but I hope it's good. Can you guys hear me okay? Check. Sound should work. Video should work. Let me know if you can hear me still. I know there's a little bit delay, but I just want to make sure. Level is a bit low, but no lags. Okay, level. Okay. I hear you. Okay, all good. Perfect. Hey Siri, dining room 50%.
Okay, I set the dining table to 50%.
Well, no, that's not what happened, but anyway. Yeah, sorry guys, the level are a bit low, but I didn't put a light on it. I didn't have time. I was like at an event and I had to run home, do the live, so forgive me for this. I could probably increase the ISO though. Just give me a second. Let's do this on the go with you. By the way, I'm at ISO 800 f2. Let's see if I can increase the ISO a little bit. Maybe going to... maybe we can go to 1250. Should be working. Okay. A little better, huh? We go down with the white balance. Okay, that should be more balanced overall. As you can see on this light here, as soon as I pushed the camera to 1250, now it's clipping all the highlights. And this is because when you go into the second circuit ISO of the pocket, you're gonna lose a lot of information in the highlights. So if you're shooting outside, never use 1250 during the day. And if you're shooting directly at a practical light like this one here, be careful and try to stay on the 1000 mark because it's much better. But back to the previous conversation and to answer question. I have to find back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Buy the Tesla stock. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was talking about the Sony camera. Yeah. No. So just to close the circle, guys, I'm not. I'm a big fan of Blackmagic. If someone come out with something better, you never know. So still, there are different tools for different jobs. So when you think about a camera, don't get obsessed over YouTubers' review. Don't get obsessed over this guy told me it's an amazing camera, so I should buy one. Think about what you do. Evaluate all the things. If you need autofocus, get a camera with autofocus. There's nothing wrong about it. It doesn't have anything to do with real camera operators, real cinematography. Nothing to do. Image stabilization, nothing to do. And the reason why, I said many times in the other video, I tell people to go with the all manual camera is because if you become like, if you level up in your career and at some point you get called to operate an RLX or a Red and you go on set and you hold this camera and you can't really capture stable footage and what are you going to do? You're going to ask the director, oh, but this camera doesn't have autofocus. Oh, but this camera doesn't have image stabilization. I can't operate the camera. No, you have to go on set. You have to bring the Arri, take the Arri, take the Red, take the Ursa, and shoot a video. That's it. And so, if you want to learn your craft, and if you want to become a camera operator, cinematographer, a real filmmaker, I think you need to learn how to use a manual camera. And the sooner you start, the better it is. Because again, once you're going to do the switch, and the switch is going to happen at some point, real cameras, they don't have this feature. So I'm sorry for the YouTuber out there just only thinking about the autofocus and camera stabilization. But okay, the Ursa 12K is not Netflix approved, but the older Ursa is. Why the 12K are not Netflix approved? And you think Blackmagic is going to make an Ursa 12K G2? Guys, this is another thing. Netflix approved camera means nothing. I repeat, Netflix approved camera doesn't mean anything at all. Doesn't mean that a camera is good, doesn't mean that a camera is bad. Because I have no idea why a Lumix S1H is approved, but a Pocket 6K is not, when the Pocket 6K can shoot RAW. So Netflix approved camera, I think it's a marketing tool that Netflix negotiate with, it's a marketing move where Netflix negotiate with different camera companies, I believe. And you know, like, I don't know. There gotta be a reason why some mirrorless that look horrible are approved for Netflix, but something to be completely clear. Netflix approved camera doesn't mean that you can't put on Netflix a movie that you shot on a camera. It only means that if Netflix is gonna come to you to shoot an original Netflix production, which means Stranger Things, blah, 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 huge multi-million-dollar Netflix production, you need to use a Netflix-approved camera. Pretty clear, right? It's pointless. Doesn't make any sense. If Netflix come to you you're gonna probably shoot on an Arri Alexa, so, or Red or Ursa, whatever. So it doesn't really matter. So I know online magazine, online blogs keep pushing this thing on Netflix approved camera. Again, they don't mean crap. Stop following that thing, because it will never give you like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean the camera is good or not. Okay. We love Blackmagic design camera with form factor. Yeah, I know. Ethan, I'm a student with a Pocket 6K, Pocket 4K with Metabones adapter for EF lenses. Will it be worth it to sell it for a Pocket 6K? Yeah, because I think you have probably sorry guys. I think so. First, Pocket 6K, much better skin tones, much better highlights roll off, and you don't have to use adapters. So you can use EF lenses, any EF lenses. You don't have to care about the focal, what's that, the back thing on the lens, if it eats the metabones or this kind of stuff. So I would do it. Even if you don't do paid work yet, I think you're gonna be in a way better place once you start doing it with the Pocket 6K. Sony has XAVCI, which is an all-intra codec. Make sure to disable active stabilizer because it crops 10%. Okay, this is something I don't like. Just in case, I don't like the plastic-looking skin tone on all Sony camera except for the Venice. I pick a C70 over any Sony camera. Include FX9. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I like Canon too. It's a little digital, but realest man on camera YouTube. Thank you for telling the truth. Yeah, I mean, Sony didn't send me an FX30, so I can say whatever I want. That's literally all our tech companies do it. Yeah. I have the original Pocket with the speed booster, but I'm having trouble with lenses. I know, yeah. Is this camera lost? It's good. I worked for so many years with speed booster adapters and everything, and it was always like, oh, that maybe I was having the FD and I need a speed booster for the FD. If you want to use an EF lenses, you need a speed booster for EF. If you want to use a Sony lenses, you need a speed booster for Sony. So it's a nightmare. So that's why I switched to EF. So I only use EF lenses on the Ursa, which is PL, but with an EF mount as well, and on the Pocket, and it's much better, much easier life. Okay. Christian, isn't a Canon R6 better than the FX30? I don't know, because I never tried a Canon R6, so I don't know. I can say I don't even know what a Canon R6 is. Well, we have the LUTs for it, so I know the footage. It's cool. Canon is a kind of good-looking footage, to be honest. But the problem with Canon is the codec, where especially on the I think C70 or the C200, they were giving you either super heavy RAW or super compressed H.264. They never came out with something in the middle. I don't think you can shoot ProRes. So with Canon, the problem I think is the codec. Matteo, the videos I've seen show very harsh highlights roll off. What do you think? I think that it depends who shot the video, because you guys can't even imagine the amount of crap that I saw shot on Arri Alexa or Red or Ursa or Pocket. There's an incredible amount of crap out there, especially if the people reviewing this camera are YouTuber, which technically there's some YouTubers which I see when I Google, FX30, and the thing that I see about this YouTuber thing is that they don't even go outside maybe they go on the street in front of their house, and that's it. There's a very few reviewers that actually go out there with a model and they shoot something cool, because the reality is that they're not cinematographers. They're very good at telling you about the product. They shoot product shot. They tell you all the characteristics, the weights and everything. Great memory. But they're not cinematographers. So harsh highlights roll off. It could be. But who knows if they use the right ND, who knows if they know how to expose, who knows if they used false color. I don't know what they did. Who knows if they shot S-Log 3. You don't know. So I think this camera is pretty decent, it's pretty good. Again, I can't judge it. These are just impressions that I have on the camera. I would really love to try it on, and I would really love to try it and see what it looks like. I'm very curious about it. But again, even if I get it, I'm not gonna tell you, oh yeah, that's cool, and I film myself in my bedroom, whatever. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna hire a model, I'm gonna shoot a fashion film or something, and there you're gonna see what it looks like, because that's what you have to do. Pixel CTR. For my budget at the moment, I'm looking at the Lumix S5. And on the Lumix S5, there's someone on Instagram, but I can't remember who because I have so many people texting me, that told me that they have a Pocket 6K, I think, and they jump on a Lumix S5, I think, or S1H. They lasted a week, they sold it, and they went back to the Pocket 6K. Because I think as soon as you realize what Blackmagic gives you for $2,000, and to me, the most important thing in a camera are dynamic range, real dynamic range, color science, and codec. And there's no camera on the market that it will give you dynamic range, color science, and codec like Blackmagic, which is crazy because they also give you DaVinci Resolve for free if you buy a Pocket or an Ursa. So the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem Blackmagic built is something that it's very hard for me to leave. And also something that I don't think it's talked enough about Blackmagic is the operative system. When you use a Blackmagic camera, and I used Arri Red, the Blackmagic operative system is the best on the market, period. And this is not my opinion, this is the truth. There's no camera operative system that works as smoothly and is as simple as Blackmagic operative system, period. I try Canon, I try Red, I try Arri, I try Sony. It's horrible. So what Blackmagic did with their operative system, with their Blackmagic OS, is unbelievable, and it's something that I don't think we give enough credit to Blackmagic, because yes, it's a good camera, yes, it's cheap, but also the operative system is quite amazing in my opinion. So this is something that we should also think about it, because when you have a good operative system, when you are on set, and I was on set in Italy shooting for SONY, that I did this video, and I had to switch setting, frame rate, white balance, and I was by myself and was like running around. If you have a complicated menu, and I used Sony FX5 and Canon, and where on the Canon C300, I think you have to go inside 3 menu to change the white balance. How you do that? To me, it's totally crazy, and I think operative system on a camera is super underrated and super undervalued, and people don't really pay too much attention to it, because extremely important on set, running gun situation, when you need to be fast, you need a good operative system, and nobody has an operative system good as Blackmagic. Matteo, the videos I've seen show very harsh. Okay, for my budget, can compare the R6 to the FX30. Canon is horrible for cinematography. I like the J6. Looks very. Yes, J6 cool, but Micro Four Thirds sensor can't stand it anymore. I have my Leica EF. I need to adapt them without any speed booster. I need to to look like the 35. I need to look like a 40, 45, but not a 70 mil. Sony is making me want to switch from Canon. What do you think about C70? I don't know, guys, because I never use. I use Canon on occasional jobs, mainly the C300. I use the C500 once too. Again, just the menu is what put me off from Canon, which is crazy. Doesn't seem like the FX30 offer anything that I need, but if you need the first ever camera, it looks awesome. Yeah, and guys, again, the Sony FX30, in my case, is not gonna go and replace my Pocket, not gonna go replace my Ursa. It's another tool for another thing. If I need my wife Karina to shoot some behind the scene where I can't hire a behind the scene operator, maybe I can give her the camera, set up the autofocus, and she can just point it at me and shoot something. if I go on a trip and I want to do a travel film and I don't want to bring too much stuff and I need to be light because maybe I'm going, I don't know, to Norway or Lapland or like in the Arctic, whatever. I need something compact. That's probably a cool camera to have. So different tools for different jobs. Nothing excludes anything. So ok, diciamo che sicuramente di sono del prodotto interessante, mercato prosumer con un prezzo super aggressivo. Yes, I think for the price, Blackmagic is, guys, keep in mind that now you can buy a Blackmagic 6K G2 for $2,000, more or less. Tiltable screen, 6K up to 50p. You can shoot B-RAW, you can shoot 4K ProRes. You have a tiltable screen, I said it. You have an MPF battery, Sony, so it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. Doubt between S5 and Sony FX30. Corporate and wedding. I think corporate wedding, if you do use autofocus, it's probably Sony FX30 is gonna be the right choice. Red didn't give us DaVinci result. True. Waiting to see what actual cinematography can do with it before swapping from my pocket 4K. Enjoy Sony autofocus for wedding events. Yeah. You guys remember I did the side-by-side Sony A7S III versus Pocket 6K in Belgrade. And when I look at the footage, except for the fact that the Sony A7S III, like the Pocket 6K was much cleaner, even at 5000 ISO, it was cleaner than the Sony, because the Sony second circuit ISO or denoising, I don't know what they're doing, kicked in at like 12,000 ISO or something. So basically, if you want to shoot at night with the Sony A7S III, you have to put ND on it and go to 12,000 ISO, 12,800, because otherwise it's too bright, which I never understood, which I appreciated on the FX30, because I think that the two native ISO are different. So I think it's 400 and 2500, which is much better than having 12,800, which I'm not even sure if it's the native for the FX3 A7S III, but I only know that at 3200, 5000, the Sony was way noisier than the Pocket, which is kind of weird. Of course, from 12,000, the Sony was much better, but you have to go all the way up to 12,000. Make a cine lens. Any thoughts? I use the 35. I tested it out. It's cool. It's cool. But I'm spoiled now, guys. I have the Leica R, and I mean, yeah, I mean, they're cool lens. They make it. They're pretty good, but yeah, probably for the price, they're good. I think the best modern lenses, if you don't have such a budget issue, could be the Tokina. I think they're pretty cool. But the Vista Vision, I think they're probably pretty expensive though. So, but Tokina in general, I think they're pretty good as a modern lens. You can get a movie you shot on an iPhone on Netflix, but in order to be Netflix production, you need an approved camera. Even though, Alex, if I remember correctly, there was a movie shot by Soderbergh. There was a Netflix production. Something horrible movie. Cinematography wise, I stopped watching it because I said this is shot on iPhone. All the highlights were clipped and everything. So like a crappy movie, completely crap. And it was a Netflix production shot on iPhone. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't approve an Ursa 12K, but they would approve an iPhone. That's a mystery. Sony sent you a camera, you won't say anything you want. If Sony sent me a camera, I will say everything I want, because I don't care. Well, let's put it like this. If Sony send me a camera and they tell me test it out for a while and send it back, that's fine. But if Sony send me a camera like I hear they're doing, or they did, and they tell me to create a short film that they're gonna use to promote their camera, they're not gonna pay me, and then I have to send the camera back, I'm gonna very kindly refuse the offer and tell Sony if they want me to shoot a short film for them for free, that's not gonna happen. If they want to leave me the camera, I can think about it. If they want to borrow me the camera and give me $5,000 to shoot it, I'll do it. But I cannot understand how someone can get this camera for free for 10 days, put work into it, shoot a short film, edit it, color grading, delivering, and then return the camera. Why you want to do that? I think more YouTubers should just like say stop. No, I'm not gonna do that because it's quite crazy that a company like Sony, they, you know, at least leave out the camera. I mean, like, what are we talking about? 100 YouTubers, 200 YouTubers? You're Sony. You're a multi-billion company. They still don't want to pay for stuff they use for promotion, which is crazy. Just place my pre-order. Nice. Now, guys, I'm going to start reading the question from the bottom, so it's easier. I use Blackmagic Ferrano 4K, 6K for 3 years, and now I have Fuji X2S for content and travel stuff. I like F-Log 2 Profile, but Blackmagic for client work. Of course, I agree. Do you still use diffusion filters? Yes, all the time. Actually, the shot that I did in Italy for the Prosecco was one of the first time in months for years that I didn't use a Pro Mist, and I have to say, these Leica are sharp, but not like horrible sharp over sharpness look like Sony or with the Sigma. It's like a beautiful sharpness, like pretty crazy. Love the Speedy. Ha! Yes. Thank you. I love it too. I have a Pocket 4K and shoot myself a lot. Autofocus is helpful for this, but I love the BM look. Do you think BM will release a camera aimed content creator with some basic? No, I don't think so. I don't think they will release a camera with autofocus. I don't work for Blackmagic. I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't believe also, even if they want to do it, I don't think they could ever compete with Sony or Panasonic or Canon for autofocus. So I don't think they will even try. They will even try because I think it's just like a waste of time. They either are developing an insane technology that is gonna put Sony, Canon to shame, or I don't think there's absolutely zero sense. I mean, they're not a big company. Yeah, they make 576 million a year now, 1,500 employees, but they're not Sony, they're not Panasonic, they're not Canon. So I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it even makes sense because I don't think, even if they want it, I don't think they can make it as good as Sony for whatever good it could be. I don't think it can be as good as Sony or Panasonic or Canon. So I think it would be a waste of resources, a waste of time, a waste of R&D, and I think they should focus on real cinematographers. And you know, if you're a YouTuber, I don't think color size really matter. Like, yeah, I'm shooting with the Pocket 6K now, but just because I have a Pocket 6K, I could shoot this video on a Sony. It would be totally fine. Is the 4K ProRes cropped on the Pocket 6K? No, it doesn't crop. With 4K ProRes, it doesn't crop. What do you think about the Fujifilm X-H2S? I'm developing the battery last now for the camera. Footage looks good. My problem with the previous generation Fuji X-T3, X-T4, X-H1, whatever, I think there was a problem in the log file. There was something weird with the color space. I don't know. It was weird. Like I was shooting in a tungsten light, even with the correct white balance, it looked like crap. So I don't know what was going on with Fuji, but I own it and I sold it because I wasn't happy with how the F-log footage was looking under certain light situation, light condition. SXH2S, what a name. I have to try it. Again, this is the last that I'm developing. The footage looks pretty good. We need to see under, I actually tested, this guy sent me footage and I saw it under pretty challenging light situation. It looks better than the F-log, regular F-log. You know, Fuji has a big potential. I think this does ProRes, internal ProRes as well, which is great. So I think it could be a very good option, for sure. Do you think Nikkor eyes can be good investment? Which focal length do you suggest? Good investment. So investment is something where you put your money in and it's either gonna make you money or it's gonna help you making money. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna explode like art. I don't think so because they made too many. But I always said it. If I was not gonna buy like art, I would buy Nikkor eyes for sure. Good investment, I don't know, but they're pretty good. The 28 is great. The 20 is amazing. 35 and 50, I think that would be a pretty good set of focal length. You'll be pretty covered. Victor, totally agree about the Blackmagic operating system and codecs. Amazing little camera, yeah. Any suggestion about a lens for Pocket 6K Canon mount? Canon mount on the Pocket 6K, new lenses. I don't know, maybe Meike, Tokina, Nikkor adapted Canon. Yeah, they all were great. I'm not, I don't know much about modern lenses, but I think that would be a pretty good option. I don't understand why they put in a 26 megapixel sensor on the FX30. A receiver better rolling shutter. With the low the FX30, if you had rolling shutter performance of, okay, yeah. It's gonna suffer rolling shutter apparently. Yeah, I need to test it. I can't say anything now, but Space my pre-order. Looking forward to using the running gun as a beacon to my Pocket 6K. Okay, I think I catch up to all the questions. I've used the Voilander lenses. I have one when I had the Pocket 4K, Micro Four Third. Pretty good. Pretty good lenses. Quite crazy. f/0.95. I'm personally not interested in the sub full frame sensor anymore. But just to give you guys a very quick roundup about this full frame madness and obsession that most of people have. It probably comes from photography, probably comes from YouTubers, which maybe were photographer. Cinema has always been S35. Did you notice that Arri just released an S35 camera? Which means that that's still their core camera is an S35 sensor. The Alexa LF, it's cool. They have it for special use, for special occasion. But the real cinema guy has been S35 since forever. So I cannot understand why people get obsessed over, oh, that camera is only S35, it gotta be full frame. No, real cinema has always been S35 and it's gonna keep being S35 for a bunch of reasons. If you come from photography, well, sure, full frame for sure if you come from photography. But if you come from video, cinema, film, always has been S35. Vintage lenses that were made for S35, you can't adapt those to full frame, so you can't use them on a large sensor. So yeah, if you're shooting a science fiction movie with the LF and Arri Master Prime for a large format, large sensor, perfect, that's fine. But that's because of that look. But you can't say, oh, S35 is dead. S35, Arri just gave us the proof that S35 is not dead. S35 is here to stay because that's the history of the cinema. It's been for 100 years and it's gonna be forever for a bunch of reasons, including pulling focus, including, oh my gosh, lens adoption and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know why there's this obsession with full frame sensors, but just so you know, cinema has always been S35 and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's it. I'm done. BME Films, I completely agree about the highlights roll off, bit harsh. Yeah, but guys, again, who shot that video? Did it expose correctly? Who knows? What lens did you use? Because this is the other problem. When you put a Leica R on a Sony FX30 or on a Pocket, and you put a Sigma, with a Sigma 18-35, I think I lose about half stop of dynamic range because it's so contrasty that it pushed the highlights and it crashed the shadows and everything. So it's like, a lens just give you a different look, and where the Leica is more like soft in the highlights roll off and the shadow. So you need to see also what kind of lenses it uses. Nikkor 28mm f2.8 and Helios. Do you recommend any other focal length? Maybe a 20mm. Yes, full frame looks different. I don't argue with that. In fact, it does look different, but it is not cinema. Cinema has always been S35. If you want to use those beautiful Cook made for S35 sensor, you need to use S35 lenses. That's it. Those beautiful vintage lenses that all the top cinematographers use, they're made for S35 sensor, and you cannot use them on the full frame camera. Again, if Alexa released an S35 camera in 2022, there gotta be a reason. So yeah, it's cool. Full frame is cool, but cinema has never been about full frame. It's always been about S35. So yeah, you can like the full frame better, which is great. But again, all the top production that you see on TV, they're shot on S35, and they look pretty good. So I'm not gonna even argue with that, because that's an objective fact, and it's not a subjective thing. Full frame from photographers that come to video, that's great, but cinema in S35. So as simple as that. Okay, we made it to 1 hour and 5 minutes, guys. I think I gave you enough information about why I think I'm gonna get the FX30, but again, I need to test it out first and see what it looks, because I can't buy a camera based on a YouTuber telling me to buy a camera. So Sony's not gonna send me a camera, so I'm gonna get one, and we're gonna make it happen. Absolutely. I saw your Perfuse Spectre and I see you use Blackmagic. Yeah, Spectre was shot on the Pocket 6K. No, guys, full frame is not the new Cine. Full frame, it's okay for some project. The standard is still S35. And I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. Ari is saying it. Blackmagic is saying it, and and everybody's saying it. So, yeah. Quali pensi sia futuro camere del genere integrati? The future, I don't know. The problem with the internal ND is either you give me very good internal ND or screw it. That's the reason why I returned my Pocket 6K Pro, because the ND, they were not up to my standards, so I have to return it. Okay, should I get FX30 or FX3? Who knows? Yes, cinema can be many things. What I'm saying is that all the people saying S35 is dead, it's only full frame, it's blah blah blah, it's not true. Standard is S35. Yes, Christopher Nolan shoots full frame, large format, perfect. That guy shoots full form. Yeah, great. It's a different thing. Standard is S35, and it always been. So, but again, I'm not gonna argue with this because it doesn't make sense. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching the live. I hope you like it, and gonna go back to the editing now, color grading as well, and then I gonna fly out to France next week for another shoot. I'm gonna stay there for a week, come back, edit and grade, edit and grade, edit and grade. A lot of work. September get pretty busy, but yeah, we're gonna make it through. Grande Andrea. I might get one. I might get one. You never know. I might get an FX30. Is the color science good? I don't know. I don't know. Can I at least test FX30? Really want to see one. Yeah, Tom, send me an email. Send me an email. I might have a way to get one, but not soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.